This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. You ready for this one? We're talking about the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Ooh, yeah. This one's going to be good.
It's a big one, right? I mean, most of us know the show, the sparkle, the dot drama, but we're going deeper, looking at how this whole thing evolved and what it says about how our ideas about beauty, well, how they've changed or haven't.
It's a fascinating case study, really, especially when you look at how intertwined it became with pop culture, marketing, the whole nine yards.
For sure. And we've got a great overview to guide us today, so you'll really get a feel for the show's journey. Buckle up, because this source takes us right back to the beginning. 1995, New York City.
Can you imagine?
I know, right? A simpler time, maybe.
Ironic you say that, because even back then, its rise was perfectly timed. Like, it coincided with that whole supermodel era. But it wasn't just like a happy accident.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that.
Well, you think about these women, your Tyra Banks, Gisele Bündchen. They weren't just pretty faces. This source makes it clear they were savvy businesswomen, the real deal. And their association with Victoria's Secret, it just elevated the brand, made it aspirational. It went from just lingerie to, I want that life.
Oh, totally. It's like suddenly everyone wanted to be an angel.
Exactly.
Which, talk about a coveted title, but what did that actually mean back then, to be at the top of that game?
It meant you were more than a model. You were a brand ambassador, you know. The embodiment of their image at the time, and the source makes it clear, this was a major career move for these women.
And speaking of major, we got to talk about the fantasy bra, right? Millions of dollars, one night, designed for one top angel each year. It's like it almost overshadowed the lingerie itself.
Oh, for sure.
What was the strategy there, do you think?
Oh, pure marketing genius. This fantasy bra, it created buzz, it grabbed headlines, and it cemented that link between Victoria's Secret and, like, luxury. Think about it. Even if you weren't into the show itself, you knew about the fantasy bra.
It's true, it's iconic. But the source points out music was also a huge part of the show's identity. And I don't mean like background music. I mean major artists performing on that runway. Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, even Lady Gaga.
Wow.
They weren't messing around. What do you think? Was that about casting a wide net?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. By weaving in pop culture so deliberately, they broadened their appeal. It wasn't just for the average fashion person anymore. This was an event.
And this source really dives into the sensory experience of it all. A theatrical runway, extravagant wings, elaborate themes, the sets. I mean, it was a full-on production. Was it style over substance, though?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, think about what that level of production did. It wasn't just a fashion show. It was meant to be an experience. It pulled you into this world they were selling, this fantasy.
Which works incredibly well for a time. But our source does say, you know, things weren't always perfect. Controversy started to brew, especially in more recent years. What shifted?
Well, remember how we talked about the show reflecting the supermodel era? That era? It didn't last forever. Society's views on beauty standards, on diversity, representation, they all started to change. And the problem was, the Victoria's Secret fashion show, it didn't really change with them.
And it wasn't just quiet grumbling either, right? Like the source points out, competitors emerged offering a different vision, different values.
Yeah, totally. And Rihanna's Savage X Fenty is a perfect example. They didn't just talk about inclusivity, their models, their whole message. It was about celebrating a real diversity of body types, of beauty. And they challenged the industry. They forced everyone to look at these narrow standards they'd been promoting.
It's amazing how one brand can do that, like a wake-up call to an entire industry.
I know. It's pretty incredible.
And for Victoria's Secret, it feels like that wake-up call might have come a little late. In 2019, the televised show, it was canceled. What are your thoughts on that, listener? Was it inevitable or a total shock? Definitely a turning point, though, for them and for the industry, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. But as we know, the story doesn't end there.
It's tough, right? Like, how do you reinvent yourself after so long? Our source uses this phrase, the future remains uncertain, about Victoria's Secret today. I mean, they're trying rebranding new campaigns all about empowerment, inclusivity.
Yeah, they are. And it's a tricky thing because the challenge, like the source points out, it's kind of twofold. Can they really convince people, consumers, that this is genuine, that it's not just a marketing tactic?
Totally.
And then even if they do, can they still hold on to what made them successful in the first place? Or have those old playbooks, have they just lost their power?
It's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice, but with completely new ingredients. Do you think, is a comeback for the show even possible? Like, could they ever capture that magic again while still feeling relevant?
That is the million-dollar question. And the source kind of leaves it open-ended, which I think is interesting. Because on one hand, that spectacle, it was really effective. It's hard to create that kind of impact. But on the other, the world has moved on.
Right.
Inclusivity, body positivity, these aren't just buzzwords, they're expectations.
And honestly, wouldn't it be amazing if the show could be part of that conversation in a real way? Imagine like a show that actually embraces diversity, empowerment, real beauty.
That would be something to see.
Yeah.
But it would take a huge shift, not just in who they hire or what they say, but like their whole philosophy. The source doesn't really go there, but it makes you wonder, are they willing to do that?
It is fascinating, though, how this one brand, this one fashion show, it sparks such a, I don't know, like a complex conversation, because it's about so much more than just lingerie at this point. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what we're really talking about here is a cultural shift.
Right.
The Victoria's Secret fashion show, for better or worse, it was like a mirror. It reflected our aspirations, our insecurities, and ultimately how we define beauty.
And maybe, just maybe, by looking at that reflection, figuring out how we got here, we can imagine something different going forward, where beauty isn't just one brand, one body type, but something truer, something
More real.
Yes.
Real. And that's what I think is so interesting about this whole deep dive. It reminds us these conversations matter. Our ideas about beauty, marketing, who's represented, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. This stuff shapes our world.
And we can shape those ideas right back. Which brings us to our source actually offers a final thought here, kind of a parting shot,
Oh, do they? Let's hear it.
It says, the Victoria's Secret fashion show will always be remembered as a cultural phenomenon that shaped the way we view fashion and beauty in the 21st century. Quite a statement, huh?
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? It's hard to argue with. Whether you loved it or hated it, the show was a huge deal. This wasn't just selling lingerie. It was an image, an aspiration. And for a long time, it totally worked.
Like we were all under its spell, even if, well, we know it wasn't always dark realistic. But like we've been talking about, things change, right? Perspectives change. Do you think this whole shift away from that kind of, I don't know, singular idealized beauty, is it here to stay or just a phase?
I gotta think it's bigger than a phase.
Yeah.
And this source doesn't really get into this, but think about it. There are parallels everywhere, like social media, the way we see images now. It's just so much more diverse, more like real people.
Yeah.
That's got to have an impact.
That's true. We see a million different images now. You can't just stick to one ideal, which honestly, kind of refreshing.
I know, right? And this deep dive, I think, has shown us this constant evolution. It's a good thing. It makes us think, challenges those assumptions we have about beauty, about marketing, about the stories we tell.
And what stories do we want to tell now? That's the question, isn't it? Our source kind of leaves things on a cliffhanger, and I like that. It lets us sit with this, What now?
And that is the best question to ask, right? What is the future of all this? Fashion, beauty, what does it look like? How do we make it inclusive, empowering, representative? And how do we, as the people buying it all, how do we make our voices heard?
It's about awareness, isn't it? Not just what we're buying, but who's selling it and whose stories are they telling or not telling.
Exactly. Next time you see one of those campaigns, a magazine, whatever, don't just keep scrolling. Actually look. Who's missing? Whose stories aren't being told? Those are the questions that lead to change.
I love that. So, everyone listening, consider this your official invitation. Be part of the conversation because it's one worth having. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.